another Sunday night up here with my three Rugrats and sitting up here watching some super old footage from 1988, Simon's Quest, Castlevania. If you're well over the age of 30, then you know exactly what I'm talking about when I bring up Simon's Quest. You know, this was one of the hardest games like back in the day. You know, all of the old Nintendo games that were on the NES, the original NES, were meant to be hard. These games today are super easy. There's nothing challenging about them. I mean, back in the day, you had to fight hard just to beat a game. You know what I'm saying? What's that? So do you agree that games today are easier than they were back in the day?
I got to say they were easier.
They're easier now?
Mm-hmm.
The older games were harder?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Just gonna use my leg as a bridge, huh? Alright. Y'all need to sit down somewhere. Y'all getting too live. Chill. Sit. Alright, folks. This is my middle son right here. This is Landon. He is 3 years old and he insisted on being in this video. So what better video to feature at least one of my kids to be in. And I got another one right here who is pretty much occupied with a balloon. Now all of y'all want to come up in here now, huh? Okay, well why not? I mean, the video is pretty much about y'all anyway. So these are my boys. This is Marquisio, this is Landon, and that's Nicholas right there, the baby.
Hey, that's you.
Yeah, and that's me. This is Daddy. This is the muscle. Okay, so, but anyway, this video is pretty much about fatherhood and the joys of it and the sacrifice and all of those good things that come along with having kids. I mean, you looking hard into the camera, man. Oh, don't be pushing don't push the screen. Let me talk. Let Daddy talk. Am I gonna have to like do this when y'all are not around? Because I don't mind talking when y'all are here with me, so it's all good. But as you can see, I mean, I'm keeping it raw because this is pretty much how it is on a daily, and it would be a fake to say that it's not. The majority of the videos that I make, you don't see my kids because most of the time I'm filming in the gym, or I'm filming in my car, or somewhere, or some location that my boys are nowhere to be found. But I'm at home, they're home, and my wife is not here right now, so they're definitely interested in being on the camera right now. So, but as you can see, this one right here is live. This is my I don't know what I want to call them. I'm not gonna call him a prized possession because all of them are my prized possession. But he's like I said, he's that middle child. He's got that middle child. He's got that middle child aura about him, don't you, baby? I love you. You love me too? Yeah. Yeah, I had to get away from the World War III that's going on in my living room right now. And funny, the quietest place that I could find around here is my kid's bedroom. And behind me, I'm actually sitting on their bunk bed right now. And my youngest child, you can't see his bed, but his bed's right there. And they all sleep in this room. It's pretty decent size. And it looks like a hurricane hits it, you know, like a typical child's room. So yeah, it's always a constant battle to get these kids to pick up their toys and to try to keep things clean and pick up after themselves. I mean, it's a constant battle between, you know, parent and child. It's something that you can't exactly just tell them to do one time. You have to continuously tell them, like, over and over to install it into their minds. I remember about 11 years ago, my mom, when I first told her that I was about to have my first child, I called her on the phone and I told her the news, and eventually we ended up talking face to face about the situation. I was about 19 years old at the time, and I never will forget what she told me. She told me two things when I first told her that I was going to be a father. She told me, number one, this life is no longer about you. It's about this child. It's about this kid that you decided to bring into the world. It's not about you. It's about you taking responsibility for another life. And the second thing she told me was, there isn't a worse feeling than having another man raise your child. So in other words, it's like, you better man up and handle your business and take care of your kid, or another man will, and you'll have to live with that, and there won't be anything that you can do to change that. So for me, at the time, being full of pride, I was like, no way in the world would I let another man raise my child. So, but before I had kids, I was into everything, living recklessly, irresponsibly, staying out late, doing all kind of things in the streets. It was just, no stability whatsoever. And I will say that a lot of people say that your life is pretty much over, or you have a lot of limitations when you have kids. Coming from me, a man who has 3 children, I have to disagree with that. My life just begun when I had my first son. My life just begun. It didn't end. I mean, I have some of the best memories ever when he was born, when he was a child. I have some of the best memories I ever had. Those were some of the greatest times of my life when he was a baby. I found a newfound respect for parents. I didn't know it would be possible to love somebody more than myself, and I found that out once I had my first child. There was no life-ending situation whatsoever. And as far as limitations go, I mean, your responsibility just increases, which makes you a better man in the first place, or a better woman, or whatever the case may be. But since this topic is about fathers, fatherhood, we're just gonna stick to that page, as of right now. But like there's really no predicaments I've been in that I couldn't, enjoy my life. Just because I have an extra added piece of responsibility didn't mean that I wasn't able to do things that other guys who didn't have children could do. I know having kids definitely changed my thought process. It made me reconsider things, look at things from several different views, because like I said, everything that I do and everything that I say and all of my actions, they no longer affect me. They affect the lives of 3 other human beings as well. So I mean, just for an example, my kids, I have two that are 3 years old and 1, and my oldest is 10. So obviously he's the only one that goes to school. He is in the 4th grade, and like I said, some days I would take him to school. We get up in the morning, take him to school around 7:30, and drop him off, and I go straight to work and start training clients. And typically my wife picks him up after school, I guess around 2 o'clock, and I'll see him briefly, maybe briefly, at about 3 o'clock or 3:30 if I don't have any clients around that time. And we'll sit, we'll talk, I'll ask him how his day was. I always make sure that I ask him, how was your day? What did you do today? There isn't a day that passes by that I've never asked him, how was your day? What did you do? Did you learn anything different? I always make sure that I'm trying to become interested and involved in his life, regarding school, home, his interests, all of these different type of things, okay? That's the first thing I do when I see him. And then usually I'm off to work, and then I don't stop training until about 6:30 or 7 p.m., something like that. And I don't know if y'all can hear them, but my kids are in there now. They're like fussy. I think the two little ones are sleepy, and when they get sleepy, they get fussy. So if y'all hear them crying in the background, just don't pay that any mind, because like I said, I'm gonna keep it raw. And people will start wondering if they didn't hear kids in the background when I keep telling people I got little ones. But yeah, sometimes I would get off work at about 6:30 or 7, and I have the option of actually leaving work and going to do something else, like maybe going to the bookstore to have some downtime to myself, or going to the gym, after hours, or whatever the case may be. Maybe go hang out with somebody, a friend of mine, or whatever after work. I have that choice. Or I could come home, to my kids and my wife, and just enjoy the rest of the evening with them. So usually when I have a predicament like that, I end up coming home, just for the simple fact that if I don't come home and I end up coming home around 9 o'clock, usually my oldest is in bed by 8:30. So I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with him, joke with him, play around, and bond with him like I'm supposed to. That's every boy needs that father figure in their life. Not just to be told what to do, but to teach them what to do as well. And I don't just look at myself as their father. I look at myself as their mentor. They're the person that they can come to whenever they're in their time of need. Whenever they have a question, I don't want them to feel like that they can't come to me. I want to raise them and teach them the fundamentals of life, because right now my oldest, he's a good child. He's good. He's sensitive. He has a lot of his mother in him, but he's sensitive. He's very smart. But right now we're going through the stage of me trying to teach him that I'm hard on him, because the world doesn't care about your mistakes. And I tell him that over and over and over, that the world, the society does not care about your mistakes. It's a very critical world out there, that you slip up and you mess up one time, that's it. You're labeled for the rest of your entire life. And what I'm trying to do is teach him that that you need to learn to respect people, respect authority, learn to follow directions more effectively, and it all starts at home. I'm a firm believer that a child's behavior out in the world is it manifests as of the activity that goes on in the home. So we I won't say enforce, but we push respect and love in our home, and to listen to one another as well. We don't disrespect each other. There's no putting down. If my boys get out of hand, I punish them individually, and not just punish one and not the other. I want to show them that there is equality when it comes between the way that I raised them. I don't consider myself to be a mean father, but I'm a father who cares about the future of his children. I look at my boys, they're just boys, 2 babies and a kid. But to me, I look at them and I see 3 men. I see men. I feel like my job as a man is to make these boys into the ideal citizen, because they're going to be a product of their environment. And for my kids to go out into the world not educated and not informed about what's really going on says a lot about the way that they were raised. And we're not going to have anything less than them being, informed and as educated as possible to, when they're adults. And by education, I'm not just talking about book smarts. Of course, we want our kids to excel academically. That's a no-brainer. We want our kids to bring home A's and B's and and good report cards and good behavior and things of that nature. But we also want them to be informed as to the way society works. How to talk to people, how to conduct yourself, how to speak, speak clearly, speak loud so that people can hear you. Look people in the eyes when you're holding a conversation with them. These are the things that I'm trying to teach my oldest, because he's the only one I can really teach that to right now, since he's at that age. I mean, pretty soon he's going to be going into puberty, and then we're going to have to go down a whole nother road, and I'm going to have to tell him, what to avoid, and what kind of a predicament to get yourself into, what to look for, and what not to look for, because I'm going to try my best to protect him away from the ways of the world, so to speak. The world doesn't care about what kids do today. Kids are doing things that that adults didn't even think of doing 40, 50 years ago. We got kids out there that are having babies at the age of 12 years old. That scares me, because my son is 10. He's 10, and he'll be 12 in 2 years. So that's not something that I anticipate, because that's not the type of home that we run here. I'm not saying that I shelter him, but at the same time, I am his filter. And in order to do that, in order to be his filter, I have to make sure as a man that that my own filter is clean as well. I don't want to watch things that I wouldn't want him watching. I don't want to listen to things that I wouldn't want him listening to. I don't want to do things that I wouldn't want him doing. You know what I'm saying? And as a parent, these are the strategies that I find that are effective for raising the ideal child, because at the end of the day, everyone thinks that their child is golden. They think that their child is perfect, and we all know that's not the truth with some kids out there, because there are some kids that are just freaking bad, and you just wish it wasn't against the law, to just get a belt and wear them out and teach them a lesson or two. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's just my view. My viewership when it comes to parenting, because like I said, I don't look at them as just boys. I look at them as grown men. You know what I'm saying? So being a father it's a job that doesn't pay you money, but it will pay off in the long run once they're grown. It's like planting a seed in the ground and watering it and giving it sunlight for a long time, and then just slowly waiting for those sprouts, for those seeds to turn into sprouts, and then those sprouts to turn into vines, and those vines to turn into trees, big trees that stand out clearly, like, here I am, and what? I'm here to stay, and I'm beautiful. That's what I look at parenting as. That's what I look at fatherhood as. That you get to reap the fruits of your labor when your kids are adults. So that means that teaching them all the things that they need to be taught when they're yay high and they're here, and then they're here, because some kids end up getting bigger than their parents. All of that stuff that you install in them is going to pay off once they're an adult, and that's pretty much the number one thing that I think about every single day. I look at the news, and I look at the local news. I see things about kids killing adults, because they looked at them wrong or they stepped on their shoes. 15-year-olds going to prison for the rest of their life because they decided to make a stupid choice, because they were probably influenced by the wrong crowd or some secular music, or they just didn't have the structure and the balance that they needed at home to correct them. Because a lot of these kids that are lost, they just need direction. That's it. They just need direction. They need mentors. They need leaders to teach them the ways that they need to go. Okay, and I think that's the problem today. Everyone's too busy. Like, a lot of parents are just way too busy these days to actually raise their kids. Now, as a parent, I wouldn't dare tell another parent how to run their house or how to raise their kid. But all I gotta say is, if you don't put any effort into your child, the streets have no problem with educating your child, okay? And you don't want the streets to do that, because for me, that's not an option. I know what the streets teach, okay? I know what the streets condone. I know what the streets have to offer, and it's really nothing worth living for. Okay, because for me, growing up, I'm not gonna say I had a really tough childhood, because I grew up in a household with a male and a female. My grandparents raised me. It's a long story, maybe I'll get into later, but me and my mother, we have a great relationship, and me and my father, we're on okay terms as well. But it's not about that. Like I said, I grew up in a household with a male and a female. I love them to death. My grandfather passed away 12 years ago. My grandmother is still alive. Looking back at my childhood, I wish that they were harder on me when it came to my academics, and when it came to the way that I would carry myself, as far as, being on time coming home at a specific time, and I wasn't. There was really no enforcement, no punishment, or whatever the case is. They were very soft, so to say. They were very soft and very passive. But, and I'm the exact opposite. My son, he doesn't get away with anything. He doesn't get away. There's nothing that he does that, if I feel disrespected, or if I feel like he's disrespecting somebody, he immediately gets, punishment for that. And that's not something that he does. I'm not saying that's something that he does. He's not a disrespectful child, but kids make mistakes, and we're not going to sit up here and act like kids don't make mistakes. It happens, but you have to teach them that, with every mistake that they make, there's a lesson to be learned. And if they don't learn a lesson, then they're more liable to do it again and again and again, and then run into somebody out in the street who really won't care whether it was a mistake or not, and then end up killing your kid. Okay, I was driving to work the other day, and I was listening to the radio, and I heard a story about a brother, two brothers. One brother killed the other. He shot him over an altercation, over an argument. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. So, I told my son about that story last night, and I was telling him about the importance of taking care of his brothers and loving his brothers, because they're going through this little phase right now. My 3-year-old, I mean, he's like, if he doesn't have his way, he'll stomp and he'll whine, and he likes to point and tell and all of this stuff. And my 10-year-old has a short temper. He tolerates it to an extent, and then he'll react, And I always tell him, listen, he's 3, and for him to be 3 years old, he's very smart, and he acts like he would be 10 himself, but he's 3. So, because he's just got potty trained. So anyway, my 10-year-old, he'll get upset, and they'll go back and forth, and my 3-year-old will hit him, and I'll tell my 10-year-old not to hit him, and he'll hit him, and then he'll get in trouble for hitting him. But I went on, and we had a really deep conversation last night about the way that he should conduct himself and protect his brothers, no matter what. Because in the end of the day, at the end of the day, he is his brother's keeper. I told him if anything ever happens to me or your mother, that you need to make sure that you take care of your brothers no matter what. Like when you're grown men, I want you three to be the best of friends no matter what. That's my desire. Like for me, that would make me feel complete and happy, because it lets me know that I did my job as a father. You know what I'm saying? And that way I could die happy. That's just the way I feel about it. I talk to my child like a man. I talk to him. A lot of people don't, they just dismiss kids as if they don't understand certain things that we say, but kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. I talk to him, I sit with him in a quiet place, and we hold a conversation. And for the most part, I do all of the talking, and he just sits there and listens, and he takes in. And then after I've said my piece, I ask him, does he have any questions? Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But the fact is, sitting there with him, taking that time, is something that he'll never forget. Because I remember stuff that happened to me when I was like very young. So I know the things that we do now at the age of 10, the conversations that we hold. He'll never forget these conversations. And I don't want him to forget that, because I want him to know that, when he's 24 or 25 years old, I remember this conversation that me and my dad had about, me taking care of my brothers when I was 10. I want him to remember that. I want to make memories. I want to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can do as a father to make these boys terrific men, to serve the public, to help people out there who may need help, okay? That's what I believe a good production of your seed is. We're not just supposed to just be having kids all over the place and then just letting the streets raise them. That's irresponsible. That's not the way that I was raised. That's not the way my family conducts themselves. My family's very close. We're family oriented. We love each other, and we're there for each other no matter what. I'm not saying that we're perfect, but we got issues like any other family, but at the same time, we're here for one another. And I want him to know that, you need to be there for your brothers, regardless of whether y'all get along or not. You need to be there for them. So, but fatherhood, I think it's made me a better man, to be honest. And I think any man who is a father can relate. Any man who actually puts the effort into their child or their children can relate to what I'm saying right now. That kids bring something out of you that you couldn't bring out on your own. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I've been upgraded, so to speak, because like I said, it changed the way I think. It changed the way I handle situations. It changes what I say, what I do, because I got people, little ones, who are soaking up everything I do and say. It puts a filter on you, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, But I didn't want to make the video too long, but I did want to put this out there because my kids are my life. That's the center of my life. Everything that I do it for them, because I have certain expectations that I want to live up to for them. I want for them to live comfortable and to be happy. I'm not saying that I want to spoil them to death, but I want them to be able to grow up and say, we had everything that we could have asked for. Because me and my wife, we work really hard to provide for our family, and our kids, they literally have everything that they want. There isn't anything that they don't have that they want. They have everything that they want. It's to the point that, this year for Christmas, it's pretty hard to figure out what we want to get them, because we pretty much end up getting them what they want, throughout the year. you know, and I guess it's just the act of, the generosity that are in that resorts in realizing our hearts, and the fact that we want our kids to know that, there is no one struggling. We're doing the best that we can do. We're in a good position. Could we be in a better position? Of course, everybody could stand to be in a better position, but we're working towards it. We're working towards getting, in a more comfortable position, and that means that, if I have to work more, I will. I mean, there have been instances where I've taken my kids to work with me, just so they can be there, just so I can see them. I've done that a lot. I remember working out of town, and I brought my oldest with me to work. And even though I really couldn't sit and talk with him, just knowing he was in the same building as me, knowing that he could see me when he got ready was enough for me, because I was working a lot of hours those days. But thank God, that's, not the case right now, and that we're in a position that I don't have to spend a lot of time away from my kids, and I'm always there. My mom, she told me one other thing too. There was a third thing she said. She told me this a couple of years ago. She said, and this was around the time I was actually working like a lot. She told me, she said, don't just be the man who pays the bills, who comes home and pays the bills. You have to be a father too. Just because you pay the bills and you keep the lights on and you keep food in the refrigerator doesn't exactly mean that you're doing your job to the fullest. So that means that on top of those things, you need to spend time with your kids individually. You need to make sure that you have that bond with them, because you don't want them growing up feeling neglected. Like, oh, you spent more time with him than me. You don't want that. And knowing that, like I said, I got 3 boys, that's a lot of individual attention, undivided attention that I have to give. I have to, and it can be draining, it can be mentally tiring, but it's all good, because I know that in the long run, it'll work out. And I have no regrets whatsoever, for the kids that we have. I will say this, we're not having any more. No more children. We're good with 3. I can say that. So the next kid I have will be a grandkid, But, for you brothers out there who, I made this video, just to let people know that, being a father, yeah, my hands are tied, but I feel like if there's something that you really want to do, you'll make time to do it. And that there's nothing to stop you. Like, kids, for instance, my kids are not a burden. They're a blessing. And by them being a blessing, I feel like I can do anything, alongside them, or them alongside me, So for you guys out there who don't have kids, and, you're thinking that they may slow you down, or you want to get your life in order first, which I understand. I understand that, you want to get yourself in a certain position first. Some people have their lives mapped out, like they want to get their careers in order, then they want to live a certain lifestyle and travel and do all of these things first, and then settle down and have a family. And I think that's fine. I mean, that's up to you. You have the right to do whatever it is you want to do in that department, because I will say that, once you do have a child, things do change, and you may not be able to do those things that you want to do when you want to do them. Not saying that you're not going to be able to do them, but you just may not be able to do them at the exact time that you want to do them. So there may be a slight delay up in there, because like I said, if there's something that you really want to do, you will make time to do it, regardless of whether you have children or not. Okay, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know that it's very different, but that's the whole point. Diversity with this channel, about my lifestyle, not just fitness. Family, that's number 1 in my books. Faith is number 1, family is number 2, of course. My God comes first. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the man that I am right now today. If you've watched my testimony, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched it, go back a couple of videos and look at it. It is almost an hour video, but it's worth watching. I appreciate it if you do look at it, because you have a better insight as the type of man that I am, you know. But I hope y'all liked the video. Be sure to comment down below. Fathers out there, or people out there who aren't parents, it doesn't matter, you know, whether you're a father, whether you're not a father, whether you're a mother, whether you're not a mother. I love you all. You know, I appreciate y'all for watching the channel and taking the time to view this video. I know my videos have been very long lately. I don't plan them to be long like that. I mean, what you see is what you get right now. There's no editing. I'm just talking to you right now. This is literally raw footage, you know, no scripts, no nothing, just me talking, and I am like 32 minutes into this video, so there may be a little editing in the beginning, but this portion right here is just straight up me talking to my subscribers and potential subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. You won't regret it, and I appreciate you all again for watching this video. Y'all have a blessed night. Happy holidays. Peace.
Who to handle.